Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today we're going to be working on a 2021 Can-am Renegade XXC. In today's project, well, we're going to go in and replace the center skid plate along with the A-arm covers, because on this particular unit, they're plastic, and we're going to be going to an aluminum setup, which is going to be a little bit more robust. So here's the setup we're going to be going with. Now, it does have an ABS type protection system on it, but if you really want to step up your game, this is the way to go. And in my opinion, if you're going to do the center skid plate, well, while you're under there, you might as well go ahead and protect those A-arms as well. So, as far as the special tools go, there really won't be any required, and I'll call out any hand tools so you can minimize how many trips you have to make to your toolbox. Well, now that we've got all our parts assembled, let me go open up my toolbox and let's dive into this. All right, guys, we're going to dive into the center skid plate first, and as you can tell, the factory one, the plastic one, has had a tough life, so this machine really needs that robust aluminum one installed. All right, let's start by taking out the center Torx, and that's going to be a T30 from down below, and then up on the inside of the frame, you're going to have to grab the nut with a 10 millimeter. Now, the way I'm doing this is I'm using a box wrench just resting on top of the nut, and that should go against the mount for the front gear case or differential, and should hold it in place. Two down, two to go. Now we're going to switch around and get one on this side. Now with all four of those removed, we should be able to shimmy it out. There we go. Yeah, not a lot left of that factory plastic plate. Last but not least, let's take off these two bolts that were holding on the remnants of what was the factory skid plate. It's a T30. How am I going to get that up in here? Probably not a problem if the winch wasn't in the way, but the winch is in the way. Just not a lot left of this one. I think I have to get out my universal tool. All right. Now, there were two more bolts that we need to remove that was holding on the plastic to the bottom of this plate. One of them's already gone, and the other one's pretty much bent over and almost about to break off, but we need to get those out of the way so the plate will fit up there flush. Hopefully you're not having to do this on your unit. Okay, so now we're ready to finally get this installed. Now on the XC model, they already have what they call the central skid plate back here, and if you were going to add that to your machine, if it was not an XC, you would need to go ahead and install that prior to putting on this front section. But it's already in place, although we do need to go back and reinstall those two bolts that were actually going through the plastic plate as well as that central plate. But we can go ahead and start by getting this in place, getting our bolts to come through, and then we're going to use these carriage bolts to go up through the midsection of the front plate. And when you're doing this, you're pretty much going to want to do everything just hand tight, because we will need to shift it around a pretty good bit to get everything to line up. So resist the temptation to tighten up everything as you're installing it. Okay, Now here's where it's going to get a little bit tricky, holding up the carriage bolt and then getting this started by hand. Now to do this, of course this is a 10 millimeter, and to keep that from falling out, what we're going to do, of course, use a swivel, but to keep the nut from falling out, we're going to take just a little bit of electrical tape and just barely put it on the edge of that nut. Just enough to hold it in place, but not so much as to where it would take the socket off with it. All right, let's see if we can reach in there and get this done. Guys, the way I'm doing this is I'm using the socket just to hold the nut still, and then I'm turning the toggle bolt with my fingers below until I get it started. Then I can lock it in place and then use the ratchet to tighten it up. That should be it. And now we're going to do that one more time. So those were the tough ones, but let's run back up and get these tightened down. Because remember, we had them loose, so I'd have a little bit of wiggle room in the back. Once again, that's a 10 millimeter nut and a T30 Torx. A little bit more substantial than that plastic stuff they had on there. Now, we're not quite done. We need to go back to what they call the central plate, the plate on the other side, or the back side of this one, and go reinstall those two bolts that we had to remove to get the plastic one out. Same technique, just use the socket to hold it still, then turn it from the bottom. Same game, other side. There we go. You may need to invest in some different length extensions to pull this off. Okay guys, next we can attack the A-arm guards. Now the ABS factory ones that are mounted on, they're only held in by 2 nuts, 2 bolts on either side. Now the aluminum ones, they're actually going to have 3 attachment points, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So to take these off, you basically have a T30 Torx up from the bottom, and then you have a 10 millimeter nut on the front, and then the back part of the A-arm itself. Now you can use regular 10 millimeter wrench to reach in there. I'm just going to grab another socket, that way it's easier to manipulate. Now, we should be able to pull forward, yep. Piece of cake. So same game over on this side. Whole lot easier than that skid plate, huh? So what we're going to do is go ahead and install the A-arm protectors, then come back and add these little deflectors. Kind of like we did on the front plate, skid plate. Just put them in there hand tight to begin with, till you get them all 3 started. Then we'll go back and tighten everything up. Same location for 2 of the smaller bolts as the plastic one that was on here. But with the aluminum one, they add 1 more bolt out toward the outside, and it already has a hole that goes through the A-arm right here. So let's get them tightened up now. That's going to be a 13 on the bottom. That should do it. Now you will need a pop rivet, and make sure it can accept this little bit larger size diameter, which this one can do, because it actually came with two different heads on it. All right guys, now these two are a mirror image of each other, and the way you determine which one goes where is this area should be flat, and then this hole should line up. Now if I try to put the other one there, this edge comes down below that and it doesn't sit flat. So keep that in mind, because you could force it through there, but then it doesn't really sit in there like it's supposed to. That sits flat, and that's what we're after. Now we just need to do the same thing to the other side. Same game as before, guys. Get that 13 at the bottom. And get that last deflector installed. Well, all right, guys, that's going to wrap this one up. Well, listen, if you need any of these or any other parts for your machine, why don't you come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below and I'll do my best to answer them. And hey, if you like what you see, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you can keep up with whatever I'm working on next. We just want to say thank you for shopping here with us at Partzilla, and we will see you in the next video. Y'all have a great day.